You know, when I was 19, I used to think that middle age was some faraway distant land that I would just simply never get to visit. But by some curiously predictable twist of fate, here I am, middle-aged. And I don't actually feel old at all. In this video, I want to bring your attention to how you view your middle age and what you're planning to do health-wise. Then I'll discuss what I'm planning to do to keep myself as fit and as optimally strong as I possibly can, no matter my age. Now, it's not about pretending to be 21 again, but it is about what we as middle-aged men need to start taking seriously as we age and enjoy our second half of life. So if you'll indulge me, stick around while I politely tell my middle age to go itself. See you on the inside. Oscar Wilde once wrote that youth is wasted on the young, and I think it's one of the most brilliant lines ever written, in my opinion. But you have to be a little bit older to begin to appreciate it. Now, when we're in our 20s, we're made of rubber and magic. No matter how drunk we get or how late we stay up, and no matter what food we eat or how many crashes we've had on a mountain bike, we just seem to knit back together. Or so the traditional way of thinking would have you believe. In fact, this is a place where a lot of damage can indeed be done, which can come back to haunt you when you're a few decades older. I can testify to this personally, which I'll come to later in this video. But it's certainly true that when I was in my early 20s, I paid scant regard to my long-term health. I was quite hedonistic, a child of the 90s actually, so you can do the math. And like most men of that time, I found that I became instantly more charming, witty and attractive the more drunk I became. And now, thankfully, I'm at a stage in life where I don't feel the need to peacock myself around bars and clubs to feel socially validated. I'm in a solid, committed relationship, and I'm more interested in the great outdoors and the various hobbies and activities that I love to do. Now, all of them require a decent level of fitness and strength, and so in order to enjoy them at their best, I barely drink alcohol these days, I don't smoke, and I generally eat very well. But I've got to say that I'm no paragon of virtue either. I'm often paralysed by my indecision, and I've got vices like a sweet tooth and a serious taste for junk food, especially when I'm working away from home. Now, really, what it boils down to is one question that I ask myself. How do I want the next 25 to 35 years of my life to look like? As an active person, I want to be able to carry on doing the sports and hobbies that I love. Now, these are mountain biking, spearfishing, wild camping, calisthenics and tennis, just to name a few of them. I also want to be physically fit and able to walk the dog every day, to go travelling and to do things with my partner, my friends and my family. Now, I obviously don't know what's ahead of me, but I do realise that by keeping fit and strong, I will reduce the likelihood of developing certain diseases and conditions that kill many middle-aged men off. I want to challenge the accepted norms of how most people, especially men, view middle age. I don't believe that middle age spread is something that just happens when you get older, and that it's an acceptable part of your life. This, to me, is a sign of neglect and apathy towards your health and longevity, which I think needs to be addressed. Midlife brings a particular set of distractions that simply don't exist when you're younger. For example, your career, your marriage, your children, maybe even your finances. And whilst you're busy juggling all of these separate demands on your time, you might not be noticing the changes that you're going through. Now, stiffness and decreased mobility, a slow creeping of your weight, not to mention your blood pressure, and a loss in muscularity and strength. Now, this sounds like I'm overgeneralizing perhaps, but what I've just described is a stage in physicality that many men end up in, even though they don't actually feel unwell, even if you ask them. Now, what's happened with midlife distraction is this. Without you ever having made a conscious decision about it, you've stopped training for life and longevity and have started adapting for decline. And that is one of the most dangerous positions a middle-aged man can find himself in. Because what you're doing is walking directly into a health danger zone you really don't want to be in. Now, this is what I call sniper's alley. To put it bluntly, this is where many men, let me restate that, men who still have half their lives ahead of them, go to die. It's where heart disease, cancer, diabetes and other metabolic illnesses are lying in wait with men like you and me squarely in their sights. Now, the ideal candidate is the 40-year-old man who hasn't been paying attention to his fitness, his waistline, or his blood pressure. Lifestyle plays a huge role here, of course. Sedentary work, poor diet, alcohol, smoking, long hours sitting at desks are all far more common now than they were just a few generations ago. Now, unfortunately, the upshot is that we're seeing an alarming uptick in younger men dying from disease and conditions that are usually only found in much older individuals. And this brings me to the point I made at the start of the video about how the damage can start when you're in your so-called indestructible 20s. In the past 3 years alone, 5 male friends of mine have died from classic sniper's alley diseases. The youngest was 39 and the oldest was just 45. If I extend that timeline by another 10 years, that number unfortunately doubles. All of them men, all of them gone far too early. And every single one of them died either directly from or quietly because of lifestyle habits they started in their 20s when I was with them. Now, when I think back about this, what hurts the most is knowing that with different priorities, they'd probably still be here. And yes, I did tell them at the time. So why am I still here? Well, despite the hedonism, I was always a very active person. I cycled everywhere. I lived on the side of a literal mountain in North Wales, and walking up and down long, steep hills was a daily occurrence for me. I'm convinced that because I maintained a decent level of fitness in my 20s and 30s over drinking, smoking and other things, I'm still here enjoying my life. So in order to maximize my health and longevity potential, I have the following generalized goals in mind. Now, just a warning, these are probably nothing new and very likely what you might have in mind as well. Number 1, I want to build more muscle and increase my strength. Number 2, I want to increase my cardiovascular fitness, more commonly known as VO2 max. Number 3, I want to vastly improve my flexibility. And number 4, I want to maintain a healthy outward appearance with good-looking, clear skin. Now here is why I want to do this. First, muscle and strength are important for everything else that follows in life. Without them, I won't be able to enjoy anything and I'll quickly become a burden, bent and slow. If I fall, I might easily break something, and without a reasonable baseline in strength or muscle tissue, this could well prove fatal. Secondly, I want a more effective set of lungs and a stronger heart muscle to oxygenate and pump the blood around my body. I want healthier arteries too, minimizing arterial plaque or atherosclerosis from even setting in. A strong VO2 max indicator is a very good overall sign of longevity, but I'm going to discuss that in a future video. Third, I am horrendously inflexible. I've never been able to touch my toes easily or stretch really into any position at all. And now, unfortunately, I have a lingering back injury that has inhibited me even further. And it's really reduced my spinal flexibility, and I'm quite alarmed by it. I'm not happy about it at all, and so I've decided to address it by including stretching and back-specific exercises into my daily life. And lastly, I like to look good for myself and for my partner. Now, here's a true story. I once had a bloke in his 80s come up to me in the gym and say, if I knew I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of my face. I've never forgotten that. So there you are. Now you know why I intend to showcase all of this on my channel. But I've got to stress at this point that I'm never going to go into full-on monk mode while I do it. Now, the extreme athletes and longevity gurus out there can continue to do what they're doing, but I'm not really into that at all. Instead, I need to fit my goals and training around my life, not the other way around. Now, this is because the vast majority of us are working men with limited time and resources. And it's the same for me. And so with that said, it's about learning and condensing and deploying the best of all the possible methods to achieve my goals without sacrificing my life to the altar of longevity. And I'm going to share everything I do with you on this channel. Now, I'm aware it's a long-term gain, and I am absolutely prepared for that. There's no quick fixes. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you'll get to know about it. In the next video, I'll show you what I do now to enjoy a pretty decent level of fitness, strength, and grooming. Now, this will be a baseline video that might prove useful for you as it is, with future videos showing you exactly how I'm going to achieve my specific goals. If you like this channel and what I'm trying to achieve here with Mengevity, please consider subscribing and hitting that thumbs up button. Introduce yourself in the chat below as well, and I'll do my very best to respond to you. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Until next time, take care of yourself.